Alright guys, welcome to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. We got the whole band back together. It is another triple threat going on today.
Three-man band!
It is the Shant, Dan the Man, and...
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish. I will be not the advocate of this podcast because it is a special day today. Not only is it Rusev Day, not only is it the greatest Rusev Day, but it is Dan the Man's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dan! Woohoo!
So he will be the advocate of this podcast episode, and I will take the role of being his match breakdown guy.
My name is Dan the Man, and I will be the advocate for today's podcast. Today we're going to be discussing WrestleMania 23, which holds a special place in my heart, as that was from Detroit, Michigan, at Ford Field back in 2007, where this was my first pay-per-view live.
So let's ask a couple questions.
Wait, so what you're doing is you're taking a survey.
Hey, yo. When you... Because this holds this very special place in your heart, obviously. What was that feeling like when you first got tickets to this event? What was your feelings the day of, like, walking through those doors and then just sitting down for possibly your favorite pay-per-view?
The funny thing that I acknowledge about WrestleMania is that you have to buy tickets in November. I believe this was part of my birthday present from my dad.
From that, from before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in November, I think it was like November 13th or 14th that year, tickets went live, and I was frantically on my phone trying to order them. And we got okay seats. There weren't any, like, bad seats available when I was getting them. But our seats were $75 each. And they were still in, like, the
curvy part of the arena?
Yeah. Which was more than I'd had to pay for, like, Raws and SmackDowns at Joe Louis Arena. God rest its soul. And so it was my dad and my friend Chris and I had the little toy title belts, and so I handed them out to each of us. And I think which one did I have? Because I think I had the undisputed title, and then I had the spinner belt, and then I had the world heavyweight title. And I think I gave my dad, who's the biggest guy, the world title, which was smaller in toy form than the other two. So you have this 6'6" guy carrying around this tiny ass little plastic belt, and then my friend Chris had the John Cena spinner title, and I had the undisputed because I've always liked the look of that one.
Yeah.
And so you roll up to April 1st, and we get down there to Detroit, and we're walking up, and you start to feel that electricity, because you're like, this is so exciting, I'm a wrestling fan, this is WrestleMania. Now, I hadn't really gotten to participate in any of the access stuff,
Right, yeah.
so I don't have that experience to speak about, but they did a press conference a while beforehand, and they brought in a bunch of the superstars, and we went to that, and that was pretty cool.
Where Vince gets shoved on his ass?
Did that happen that year?
Yeah, where he tries to slap Lashley, and Lashley just, like,
Oh, yeah.
gets him over the table and just hurls him down. And Batista's just laughing at the whole thing.
It was fun. But, yeah, so there's a different dynamic, I feel, when you... Because have either of you guys gotten to go to a WrestleMania?
No, I've been to a SmackDown once, but I've never been to a WrestleMania.
I haven't been to any event just yet.
Yeah. Because it's different. There's a different energy to it than there is for your standard live event, or I would imagine. Like I said, that was the only pay-per-view that I've been to, so I would imagine even going to a standard pay-per-view probably feels like, okay, we're gonna go to a 7-hour Raw, but no, WrestleMania it's more fun.
So you felt like there was more to do, and, like, because it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You felt more like, oh my God, this is like something that I can say like I've done, especially in your home state of Michigan.
Correct. But yeah, the arena was bigger. This was the 20-year anniversary of WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome, so there was a lot of buzz going on.
Wait,
Superdome, Hogan, not Silverdome.
Yeah, Hogan, get it right. Thank you, Paul, for that.
Not the Sky Dome.
So being that this was at Ford Field,
Correct.
Usually Ford Field has a big capacity audience, right?
Yeah. So this one, because I was reviewing the information this morning, according to the Wikipedia page, allegedly, WrestleMania 23 was also the fourth highest attended WrestleMania in history, behind WrestleMania 3 with their alleged 93,000 fans.
That's
Big
alleged.
quotation marks.
29 with 80,600 fans.
Now that one was a big success before, and it was right before the network was released, so that one might be a little true, but go ahead.
And WrestleMania 32 with 101,000.
I doubt it.
Because we were sitting on a cool 80,103 fans for this one, allegedly.
Quote unquote.
Do you remember if all the seats were full? If there was like a section where there was like empty seats?
I think everything was full in the basin. There might have been some stuff further up that was still empty.
The nosebleed seats.
Yeah, but like my seats, I think it was $40 for the seats below where we were. I think all of the $40 and higher seats, I think they were maxed. So
Okay.
I would believe this 80,000.
So my question to you is, did you feel like at one point, because you got to be there, that like, seeing as how they call them now, the universe, do you feel like you're one with the WWE universe at this point? Even though on this podcast we have gone many a times to disagree with the universe.
Thank God this was not in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Dinkelberg. What a weird reference for a wrestling podcast.
Fairly Odd Parents.
I'm Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Yeah, I think I think it's sort of like being indoctrinated to a cult or a fraternity.
A large fraternity.
Yeah,
large cult.
Because once you go to the Super Bowl of wrestling, I feel like you get to sort of, it's like getting a merit badge.
Okay.
So you get that new little button you get to put on your Boy Scout sash.
Do you feel like also it's like you just won one of the biggest participation awards?
Basically, yeah. Yeah, it's a huge trophy to keep in my closet, but I do it for the Rock.
A lot of things are done for The Rock, apparently.
Out of curiosity, was there a match where you were like, I cannot wait to see this match?
I think I was pretty hyped, and we've talked a little bit about this pay-per-view on the History of WrestleMania podcast. I think we did. I was getting pretty hyped for the Cena versus Shawn Michaels
And
match.
who did you want to win?
I wanted Shawn to win.
That's right.
Heartbreak, pardon the pun.
But I felt that they built that storyline pretty well, going up to it. I was excited to see. Both title matches were pretty exciting. I think as I was reviewing the card this morning again, I realized that there's actually a handful of matches that I don't think I cared about when I was watching it. But I was excited to see a Money in the Bank ladder match in person. I was okay with the whole Battle of the Billionaires thing.
So much to say about that.
And then I was excited to see The Undertaker
Yes.
in a WrestleMania match for the title specifically. Because I think this was still in the time period where the stakes were high for The Undertaker, and you believed that it could go either way. because you've got him as the underdog. He's not holding on to the title.
Right.
Like, if he has the title, you're like, all right, he's probably going to hold on to the fucking title.
Yeah.
But this one was, he's either going to win and Batista loses the belt, or
Which
he's
he
going
had never lost before, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is, Sean.
No, he never lost it. He had to forfeit it because of
Yeah.
injury.
I know, but there it is mentioning the undefeated.
So, you're taking this in a different route. So you have The Undertaker, who up to this point was still undefeated. He was still in good shape, and he was coming for the belt. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what just happened with Sean.
I'm
for a
sorry,
second.
just hearing him saying this is when The Undertaker was still undefeated, just...
But so there were a bunch of elements to that match that made it exciting. So,
And I just thought of something. This is before WWE went PG, so you were able to witness a WWE programming WrestleMania non-PG. So there was the blood, there was the violence, there was the
Ruthless aggression.
slap in the face.
now this year was the year that The Undertaker won the Royal Rumble, if I recall
Yes.
correctly.
Yep.
See?
And if this layout is correct, this is where we got to see that winning the Royal Rumble didn't necessarily mean you were actually going to be in the main event of WrestleMania.
Well, I think because the landscape had started changing slowly.
To Big Match John.
Yep.
But,
They got twice as much time, Cena and Michaels.
well, let's do it. I think
Disgraceful.
since I think we lived a lot of the nostalgia in the beginning parts of the event. Let's get straight to the event.
Alright.
So as your match breakdown guy here, I will mention the dark match because you were the witness to it, I believe. Carlito and
Charlotte Flair.
Ric Flair
Oh, my bad.
against
Holy shit, he wasn't on the card, was
Chavo Guerrero and Gregory Helms in a
God damn it!
lumberjack match.
Who put a question mark on the teleprompter?
In a lumberjack match. There's no time allotted. It was a dark match. You can tell us. We know Carlito and Ric Flair won, but you can tell us how you felt about that match.
That one was one that I don't think necessarily inspired much, but I liked it's a match full of good competitors.
he? Why is Ric Flair on the pre-show?
Why is Ric Flair on the pre-show?
There we go.
So, no, I mean, I'll level. I don't really remember much about this match. Because...
Do you remember the lumberjacks?
No, not at all.
Well, I'm gonna mention a couple of the names.
Oh, we got
Yeah.
the list.
By the way, we're still missing the other list of infamous holds.
Goddamn Shockmaster.
What was moving on number 1,000?
I believe move number 1,000 was the armbar.
Is that Admiral Akbar's armbar?
Apparently. Okay. Brian Kendrick,
Okay.
Charlie Haas,
Yeah.
Chris Masters,
Masterlock.
Eugene.
Oh god, that.
I don't think it adds the first part of his name, but Jim Duggan. Oh.
Hacksaw!
Lance Cade, Shelton Benjamin,
Shelton.
Super Crazy, Val Venus,
Hello, ladies.
Viscera,
Oh god, that.
Big Daddy V.
Jamie Noble,
Before, this was before J&J Security.
The Miz,
Jesus.
Scotty Too Hottie.
There he is.
Is
the other one there?
No.
Ah.
He had been fired.
For the Rock.
No, he wasn't fired because of that. Sir William Regal.
The man who deserves one last run.
And apparently there was ECW Lumberjacks. Balls Mahoney.
Balls.
Rest in
Little
peace.
Guido Mariattato.
Guido.
Stevie Richards.
Oh, the other one was there too.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Damn, how was it experiencing...
And hold on, we can't skip it. We're not skipping matches yet. And Snitsky.
Well, that's actual Stevie Richards, though,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, but the other one was there too.
Yeah, and we'll mention the other one when we'll get to it.
So,
well, those were your lumberjacks. I didn't mention the entire list because that's way too many.
yeah, a lot of undercard talent just being shoved onto the card that way.
More like guys who used to be A-listers in the early thousands that are now
B-listers.
Well, I say A-listers in the thousands in the very beginning.
Well, The Miz was there.
Well, what a difference 4 years made.
But yeah, so we can. You barely remember the match.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Carlito. Everybody likes Rick.
Do you remember? Did you get to experience a chop and then everybody say woo?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
All right, heading into the beginning of the actual event.
Here we go.
24-minute, 10-second match between Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy? Oh. Let's do it again.
Mr.
Kennedy.
Versus a CM Punk.
Oh, wow.
Edgy. Mr. Finlay. Jeffrey Hardy.
Hardy.
King Booker. Along with Queen Sharmell. Yeah. Sir Randy Orton. And deletes. Matt Hardy.
Remember, keep the finger pointed.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Money for a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Hornswoggle also came out for this match too.
Yes, he did.
He did make an appearance.
He took a little beating. Not literal. Little.
That was awfully short notice.
Here we go with the jokes.
So
he's here for the jokes, Dan. He's here for the jokes.
So as you said, 24 minutes, Money in the Bank ladder match, 8 men. So I'll turn the question to you guys real quick. Out of those people, looking back at that, who were each of you guys pulling for?
Punk.
Okay, so this is when I was like dead in the middle of my teens, so my perception was skewed, so I was probably cheering for people that I shouldn't have been. But I basically wanted like a face to win instead of a heel. So whoever was a face, I would be a fan of. So
One of the Hardys,
CM Punk, and
Finley.
Was he?
No, I think that's it. Everyone else was a heel.
Yeah, so I was for a face because I was in my teen years and.
Well, everyone's like that when they first get introduced to wrestling. It's like, oh, I have to cheer for the face, but as you grow up, it's like, no, now I want to cheer for the heel.
Because I'm jaded.
And as common as we are now, it's like we just want to cheer for who deserves the match. At this point.
Well, at this time, like the whole thing was like, if you're a good guy, you're getting cheered. If you're a bad guy, you're getting booed. But now it's like the whole landscape has turned where if you're a good guy, you're being booed, and if you're a bad guy, you're being cheered.
Well, I think back in this time frame, the stories were being written properly. They were being written to move a plot forward. They weren't being written to fulfill a vendetta or an agenda. Which is why a lot of the Roman Reignses get shat on, is because we're all sitting here going, we don't want him as
anymore.
The center point.
Yeah.
We like this guy. Like, it's kind of like WWE is like, hey, how's it going? And we're like, good. Here's a list of the people that we like, and they go, great, and rip it in front of our face.
But we like those people.
They're
wrong. You will like who we say you should like.
Even though they come from another universe and don't deserve the title, I am talking to you.
Wow. Okay. She shouldn't even be mentioned today, but okay.
All right. Well,
let me calm myself.
Okay, so
this was during a time frame where, for the most part, they were doing stuff, and we were generally okay with it because it made sense. There was a general plot to these
an actual
things.
consensus of real thought into how they're gonna write this out.
Yeah, as opposed to a 4-year story arc featuring Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Beautiful.
The love story.
And so they should have just kissed.
Oh,
and
God.
so in this match for me, thinking back, I know I was okay. I think Kennedy was growing on me, and so he was one of the people I was okay with having win. And I think Kennedy, Punk, and Edge were my top three.
Yeah, I can say that, but in a different order.
Yeah.
But did you feel like seeing an actual ladder match was like, holy shit, like it's actually like more insane live than it is on TV?
I have to ask you, because this is the one spot where if you're watching a YouTube video, it becomes number one, is Jeff Hardy coming down on Edge.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So with this being the first match of the actual card,
Yeah.
this is basically your New Day pre-show nowadays.
Yeah.
You got this high energy, intense spot fest intended to get the crowd riled. And so this got everyone lit. Like, it was hopping in Ford Field during this match because you had a lot of good spots and you had a lot of false finishes, and then you have Jeff doing his traditional "why the fuck would you do that, Jeff" move. You were able to see Randy get off that table, Jeff.
Hell in a Cell 20.
Hell in a Cell. But no, as far as this match goes, it was a solid match. Kennedy ended up winning, as we all know.
And then lost it.
He loses it to Edge because he gets suspended, I believe. Or is that we went back and forth on this before too? Was it his suspension or an injury that he had to lose it to Edge for?
I think it was an injury.
I think he was pissing a lot of people off, and they didn't want to bank on Kennedy being the next guy. So
Did this get taken to Wrestler's Court? Which, by the way, is real.
Probably.
was it even like fully optimized at this time? Wrestler's Court? Yeah.
Yeah, this time it was, because who was your presiding judge always?
Undertaker.
Yep. That's something we'll discuss in another episode
Undertaker.
on the Anything Wrestling podcast. But moving on to the ladder match again.
So yeah, good match. I was okay with Kennedy winning because I wanted him to get pushed because he was growing on me. I thought he was a decent talker. Voice was a little annoying, but he was a good heel. He was a good classic heel type of character.
I kind of liked him more as Mr. Anderson.
Anderson, are you talking like pre-Kennedy or like
Post.
WWE?
Post WWE. Yes, we do watch outside of WWE sometimes, but we only discuss WWE on what podcast?
On the Anything Wrestling podcast, which, by the way, if you didn't know this already, you can catch all your favorite WWE programming only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
$9.99.
It's not $10.
Not $1,000.
Not $1 million.
$9.99. Beautiful symphony voice, by the way. Not really.
Oh, wow.
Let's move on in Dan's greatest event live.
Speaking of great,
The Great Khali. Or Khali,
Callis.
whatever. Versus the now unmasked and bald Kane.
in a 5-minute and 30-second match.
How'd you feel about that? That, like, there was a rivalry at that point in time.
Bathroom break.
Wow.
Probably.
Sean.
Well, I mean, I think they were trying to promote See No Evil because they had the hook,
Yeah.
which Kane brought to ringside, and they were trying to push Great Khali. So if you have Kane and you're only having a 5-minute match, then
Yeah, I didn't. This is another one that I just kind of glossed past.
moving on.
Hold on. I'm the match breakdown guy, guys. So this is going to be very interesting to talk about
Here we
because
go.
this is the one. Stevie Richards,
Here we go.
the former United States champion, defends the United States Championship against Montel Vontavious Aporta, a.k.a. MVP.
Ballin'.
9 minutes, 15 seconds. Now, ask the question. What was it like seeing a murderer in person before he became a murderer?
Anywho,
What was it like?
so at the time, he had not, to our knowledge, killed anybody yet.
But he did it. He did.
I
drop
think it
the
was that
headbutt.
year.
It was that year. Yep.
Yeah, in 07, right?
Yep.
But he was United States champion. He goes over MVP in a fairly competitive 9-minute match.
He always had good matches.
And I mean, he picks up the win with the headbutt.
Oh god.
So I mean, I guess you could technically say we were watching Making of a Murderer.
We were contributing.
No, here's the thing. From what I remember in that match, because I was kind of briefly reviewing this pay-per-view last night on, I forgot what network it's on.
I'm pretty sure you caught it only on the WWE network for a non-negotiable, very reasonable price of only $9.99.
I feel like you didn't see this match on there, did you?
No, I did. I didn't.
They didn't splice it out? It's there?
No, every one of Stevie's matches is still
I
on the
think
network.
they
Oh,
put
well,
it there,
shit.
but they don't put it like the little
little marker
dots
to draw
saying
attention
that
to.
so and so versus so and so. It's just
That
this
way you
big
just
blank.
get to be surprised when when he shows
It's like,
up
why
on
is
the
there a
screen.
big gap? Oh.
No, but MVP had most of the match dominated because he actually scouted Stevie very well, and it seemed like he had the upper hand the whole time.
He avoided that super kick. That's Steve E.T.
Well, no, he got the Stevie T at the end of the match.
But again, did you think it was a good match, or were you just like, nah?
No, at the time this one was fine. The night was getting later, and the two matches I was really interested in seeing were still to come. So I mean, you got because I mentioned at the top, not MVP, Money in the Bank, and the two title matches were the big marquee things for me.
Right.
So I was excited to see The Undertaker and see Shawn and John. So this was still a good match. It was a nice undercard match, but the next match was the first one I really wanted to see.
Which leads into us now cheering for the current 14-0 Undertaker versus one David Batista, the current World Heavyweight Championship champion at the time. Match being 15 minutes, 51 seconds. I'm just going to ask you directly. What did it feel like seeing The Undertaker come out?
Before you answer that.
Oh my god.
Wait, no, I'm serious. What was it like, if I could be serious for a minute, what was it like having the lights go out and hearing that gong? Because
That's the same thing as me asking. How dare you?
We're all on the same page.
like Xavier Woods and Brett Maddox?
Moving forward, good lord.
You're really gonna sully an Undertaker WrestleMania match
With
by bringing that up?
Fighting with My Family coming out in theaters near you.
I feel like that's gonna be on the deleted scenes. So no, especially at WrestleMania when you got the famous undefeated streak, having that gong hit, and especially given the fact that we had the Undertaker, who was our Royal Rumble winner that year,
Ramble.
going into this match where you had the stakes of it's the streak versus the title. And you had Batista, who's at the time, I think, one of the most believable opponents you could have for the Undertaker. You expected that the Undertaker was going to win, given the fact that you have the undefeated streak, but you weren't sure.
Yeah.
And so the gong hits, the lights go out, everyone. Ugh. You hear the announcers talk about getting the chills when the lights go out and the gong hits. It's real. It's true. Because you've got that. Everyone in the arena is connected to each other. Your energy syncs up when you're at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And so when it happens, you feel that electricity kind of crackle throughout the whole building. And so everybody, their hair stands on end. They get goosebumps. No, it's intense, and it's awe-inspiring to experience the Undertaker's entrance at WrestleMania, especially in this time.
And Teddy Long was introducing them.
Undertaker! So anyway, Undertaker does go over. It's off a tombstone on this one, right?
Yes!
Yeah.
He tried to get him again on the, what was it? The powerbomb?
Yeah, I
The
think
last ride.
the power slam is what he was.
Yeah, that's
pushes
how
into
he
the
referenced
turnbuckle,
it.
and then
But then Undertaker caught him
yeah,
off
that.
guard by leaping off of him into the tombstone piledriver.
And why was this card in the middle of the show, Dan?
Why wasn't The Undertaker in the main event, Nakamura?
That was good.
Anyways.
Moving on to...
Hey.
I
You're not
know.
the match breakdown guy. How dare you take...
I was just
Wow,
I was going to cue up the match breakdown guy. A match that was featuring a handful of stars that aren't there anymore.
Practically all of them.
What?
Nobody in this next match is still in the company.
An 8-man tag team match of
Oh,
the ECW original. I'm sorry.
EC Dub. WWE version.
Jesus.
Robert Van Dam, not related to Jean-Claude.
Or Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I just said that.
Sorry.
He's not related to Sean or Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, because he said Sean, right?
I said Jean.
It sounded like Sean.
Whatever. Sabu, the illustrious Metallica Sandman, the Sandman,
Bring me a dream.
and Tommy Thomas the Tank Dreamer
And he did.
versus the new breed,
Yeah.
Elisha Burke,
But okay.
Kevin Thorne,
Oh, God, Mordecai.
Marcus Corvan,
The alpha male.
and Matt Stryker.
Your favorite teacher.
7 minutes, 27 seconds. This had to be an underwhelming match.
Yeah.
I have to ask. Was it?
I think it was the only match Oh, no, wait. There was the Money in the Bank match. But it was the only match really representing ECW.
Well, I think, in our
it's because your
perspective.
champion was in the next match, which was not for the title.
And in our perspective, it's like watching, or listening to Joey Styles and Taz. We didn't get to really, like, experience, like, an actual, like, EC dub event. It's just a match. And I had to ask, like, I ask if it's underwhelming because of the fact that it's like, you just saw The Undertaker, you just saw The Dead Man, you know?
And then you go to this.
Well,
How does that, like, does that not suck the energy out of you?
Here's an interesting thing that, tying into that. Here's an interesting thing that I realized a few minutes ago. Did you guys realize that the only diva on this show was Ariel?
What about Ashley and Melina?
Oh, Jesus. See, that's how forgettable they were, too. So, you have a grand total of 3 women on this card.
No, not really.
What do you mean?
Who's the fourth?
No, you have a bajillion of them in the Lumberjill match.
Well, who are actually wrestling. But so this is your bathroom break after your third longest match of the night with The Undertaker. So you gotta give people a breather. And this match, yeah.
You would say this is like a crappy breather though, because it's like
it's seven and a half minutes. I think you pretty much knew the ECW originals were gonna go over. It's not like this was the Nexus where they were actually trying to push the stable.
Oh, you mean the Nexus that was supposed to go over, but then John Cena buried them?
Yeah, but they've been pretty good up to that point.
Shovel I've ever seen. By the way,
I'm not gonna compare the ECW originals to John Cena.
Biggest shovel ever witnessed, by the way.
In the Extreme Rules match.
Can I ask this? Seeing those EC Dub originals, did it seem like they were all like just out of shape, other than Rob Van Dam?
Yeah.
Because Rob Van Dam looked like the only one that was like, okay, I'm still fit enough to still be in competition. Where it's like Tommy Dreamer, always typical like.
Well, weed's a hell of a drug.
Well, it's kept him pretty sane for these few years.
Wow.
But then you have Sabu and the Sandman, who, let's face it, the wrestling industry and time have not been very forgiving
nice
to them.
Well, they have not been very nice to themselves either, with all the shit that they've been doing.
Especially Sabu.
Sabu seems like an asshole. So
Well, after what he said to JR about after JR had his injury, I'm like, okay, you lost a whole lot of respect there, pal.
Sabu, he's always been like one of those assholes in the industry, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
And he points towards the heavens, the irony.
This wasn't a awe-inspiring match. I think you had a couple of neat moments. Tommy and Rob were really the focal point of the match.
Here's my question. Where was Raven? What about Raven?
quoth the raven nevermore. So we can move on to the next one. We've
Wow,
covered that one.
the billionaires.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is
before Trump ever breathes on the presidency.
No politics here, people.
This is when Trump was still not as much, but still tolerable. This was the hair versus hair match. I don't know how you put up actual hair versus a toupee, but you have Bobby Lashley 1.0.
Lashley.
Get out, Leo.
With Donald Trump at his side versus Umaga.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Along by his side,
Armando
Armando Alejandro
Estrada. That was beautiful, by the way.
and one Mr. McMahon.
Or like JR called him that night.
You got a hairball?
No, Vince does. Good Lord.
Or like JR would call him that night, Mr. McMadman.
He probably did have a hairball after this match. Get
13
it? 'Cause he got
minutes
his head
exact.
shaved.
13 minutes exact, by the
Wow,
way.
was it really only 13 minutes?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Yeah, tell us what you were looking
You got to
forward
see
to.
prior to him becoming the president.
So I
got to see the Donald.
So I was rooting for Bobby and Donald going into this match.
So was the whole world, unfortunately.
Because you had Umaga, who was your traditional
I think he was like a super heel.
native super heel, foreign super heel, I guess is what. Native,
I would
not
say
the right
foreign.
word. Foreign.
I'll
Foreign
tell you
super
what,
heel.
you didn't have a 3-minute warning.
Nope. Jesus. We're in a little closer proximity to each other than usual. So when he just did that, he was yelling in my face.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll
On
survive.
his birthday, too.
I know, Rusev Day, how dare I?
And so Bobby goes over Umaga here in the hair versus hair. Steve Austin, your special referee.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. I apologize.
You mother...
No, you can say it.
No, it's
This
okay.
podcast does allow colorful commentary.
Not towards each other, though.
Where's Jerry the King Lawler when you need him?
Jerry.
Okay, for selfish reasons, I gotta know this. How was it seeing 4 stunners live?
It was a lot of fun.
How was it, how was it seeing the man? Stone Cold
Wait, Becky
Steve
wasn't...
Austin?
Oh.
Are you serious? Can I be serious for a minute?
No, this match was a lot of fun. It was a little chaotic, but it was fun because you had that element of Stone Cold in there.
How was the glass break? Did they whole arena pop?
Yeah,
How was that?
it was cool.
Is it just like Corey said? Is it deafening when that?
Because they
glass
exaggerate a lot of the time, but it's like you said, The Undertaker, like the chills up your spine is real. So was this like, holy shit?
It was a pretty solid pop. Yeah, I would say. I'm trying to. I'd say top 3. It was top 3 of the night.
breaks? Because honestly,
Who was the other 2?
Should be Taker and
Sean? Don't tell me
it
John.
might have been John.
Oh.
Because people were
My
turning
God.
on him at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm able to forgive him because it's his birthday. Still, John Cena?
Well, John did the car through the glass
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
so he had a spectacle entrance.
Sean had the DX entrance.
Yeah.
Well,
Your favorite.
I'll mention that. There's something about that I want to talk about.
But
Back
yeah.
to the match. Like, you got to see Austin.
Yeah.
You did see him take a bump to Umaga,
Yeah.
and then still see him stun Umaga. Seeing Vince in all his glories, you got to see the man who brought us here, who brings us here every week to do this podcast.
Yeah.
What was it like to see Mr. McMahon before he was getting his hair shaved off?
And losing touch.
Seriously, he lost touch with reality.
Well, I had seen him, I believe, on a couple other, or at least another instance on a
There was a
Raw
segment-
or SmackDown. I'm talking like back in the day.
I see.
But no, this, like I said, there were a lot of elements to this match that made it a lot of fun. You had Vince at ringside, you had Donald there, you had Steve, Bobby and Umaga were there.
Yeah, Bob the Builder 1.0 was there, I guess.
But
I love Donald Trump's commentary too, by the way, like at ringside. He's like, come on, Bobby, let's go. Come on, Bobby, what's going on over here?
you gotta win. It's gonna be huge.
Oh, okay, you know what? Now that you guys bring that up, this is something I want to ask. Because they had a segment earlier with Donald, and I forgot who was with him.
And Boogeyman?
Yeah. Do you see those segments?
Yeah, they play segments.
Oh, so they do? Okay. I've always wondered that at events, if they play segments just as we watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they've done it a couple of times in the past where they don't, but the majority of them, yeah, they show you the segments. Like I went to see a SmackDown. I'll tell you guys that story afterwards. I went to a SmackDown in 2013, and Bray Wyatt. This was early on in Bray Wyatt's stuff.
Yeah.
They did a on-screen segment with him, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's so fucking good, because his delivery was really, really good, and you wanted to cling to it. But then, as we heard more and more of these cryptic promos that were really just kind of all over the place, I liked them early on because they painted a picture, they were vibrant imagery, and it was interesting. And then once you started to hear it more and more and more, you went, he's not even talking about anything, he's just saying things. Which I think
he's just really good at doing a promo.
He's sort of in the same school as Ultimate Warrior, and even the cream of the crop.
I can see the luster in your eyes.
Macho Man.
I think that was more macho. Can anyone do a good warrior?
No.
Just yelling to the phone.
Spirit
of the warrior. Hulk Hogan.
But anyway, okay. So obviously after the match, Vince gets his hair cut.
Yes.
His reaction was
He's
the
just
best.
crying.
Did you enjoy that?
It was hilarious.
Oh my god, I have to ask you. What was it like seeing Donald Trump get stunnered?
It was funny. Cause
we need that now.
Because the bump was just awkward.
Was stupid.
He did not know how to sell that.
His hand was literally like in the way.
I think that was the worst sell. That's worse than Vince. Who takes a better stunner, Vince or Donald?
Vince.
Oh, I just remembered in that match too. Shane took a bad stunner. Like he sold it bad.
And you
for the
saw it
first
coast
time.
to coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to, I think this is the most underwhelming match of the entire card.
Here we go.
The Lumberjill match
Here
for
we
the
go.
WWE Women's Championship.
Pre-Women's Revolution.
Current champion Melina.
A.K.A. Batista's... What?
Mm-hmm. What?
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 It's a PG show, not really. Go ahead.
You bring up Paige.
Defeating
every
Ashley.
episode.
I know.
And Melina's where we draw the line.
That's your line? How dare
The
you?
line in the sand. Time to find out who I am. Evolution.
3 minutes, 40 seconds.
Which says a whole lot.
And this is the recently returned Ashley, right? Or
I'm assuming I haven't kept up with her at all.
I mean, I think she was gone for a minute, and then she came back to this, didn't she?
Was? Oh, I think she had a leg injury or something.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But either way, 3 minutes, 40 seconds.
And-
You got to
and
see a
did
bunch
they-
of hot
did-
chicks outside
Was
the
this
ring.
was this the same time frame as her Playboy spread?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I'm assuming.
Because she won the Diva Search,
Yeah.
and then everything was obscure after that.
Yeah. And apparently she's crazy. Is anyone
Her
surprised?
Matt Hardy thing?
Yeah. Is anybody surprised by that though?
So what's the
Anyway.
story? Because everything gets skewed online, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
With
Ashley,
that?
yeah. Or
from-
is there something else I don't know?
From what I read, it's the fact that she was allegedly an enabler to Matt, and so she was like supplying drugs, and Rebby is not a fan of that because Rebby is his wife, and so that's where that heat came from. Is that I guess Ashley was feeding into his habits, and Rebby was like, "Bitch, you stay away from my family because you're gonna fuck shit up."
Delete.
I'm gonna delete you.
Not Charlotte style.
Throw her into the lake of what is it?
Obscurity.
Rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Rebirth.
But yeah,
Reincarnation.
do we really need to go over this match?
No.
Bathroom break.
That's the true bathroom break.
I do. I will say. I think going into this, I think I started to appreciate Melina.
A little bit.
Yeah, and so I think I was okay with Melina winning. I don't think I wanted Ashley to win. Moving on to the main event of the night.
Here we go.
The jorts wearing. You can't see me having attitude. John, I am from Boston, Massachusetts, Cena, versus
Break it down.
the icon,
The headliner.
the showstopper.
The icon.
I just said that.
The icon.
I just said that again.
Oh, my bad.
The main event. And how appropriate. Mr. WrestleMania.
The screwer of Brett.
Really?
Sorry.
Shawn, you ruined the passion I had just now to say his name. Shawn Michaels. God damn it.
29 minutes, 27 seconds. Real quick, I want to hop back because I didn't mention this detail. With the Undertaker match, my friend Chris and I were on opposing sides.
Really?
Yeah, he was cheering for Batista.
Wow.
Like, adamantly cheering for Batista.
And this match?
No, in
No,
in this match?
Who
What
was
were
he
you guys
cheering
cheering
for?
Oh, in this one,
You said Shawn.
I was cheering for Shawn.
Was he cheering for Shawn?
I think so.
Here's the
I
thing.
know. With the Undertaker one, it was a like we were making a big deal. Out
Yeah.
of it. I don't think this one was that big of a deal.
Okay.
Where we were.
But were you guys making a
talking about
big
it.
deal because at that time, again, you go back to the perspective of a fan. You want the Undertaker to win.
Yeah.
You're not going into it like how we go into shit now, where it's like, no, Batista did not want to be booked to be the guy to ruin the streak.
Yeah. I was of the mindset.
You see that? Thanks for taking away my luster. I'm gonna take away yours.
So I was of the mindset that I liked the Undertaker. I wanted the Undertaker to win, and I felt that the streak should continue.
Uh-huh.
And then he liked Batista, so he was cheering for Batista. And so it's I don't. You guys have both been to events, right?
I haven't.
You've never been to a
WWE
live event?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
but you have.
SmackDown, yeah.
You ever been there with somebody who's cheering against you?
Not
in
exactly.
your group?
Because, again, when I went with my cousin and I, we were both teenagers and we were both cheering for the good guys.
Yeah.
So we were always cheering for the good guys.
It's funny to go with
I would want to see
somebody
that. I would want to see that
who you are
opposed.
who you're arguing with.
Fuck you, son of a bitch.
Was there, like, cursing? Was it like, no, shut the fuck up, don't cheer for him? Or was it like...
I don't think so, because my dad was there.
Oh.
I had enough respect at the time where I wouldn't swear in front of my dad.
Forgot about that.
But I'm pretty sure Dan's dad's there like, kick his ass! Kick his ass!
So anyway, let's jump back. So
Back to the match.
as has become tradition, somebody's got to have an over-the-top WrestleMania entrance. So you have John Cena drive a Mustang through a pane of glass. Which even at the time I was like, that was lackluster, because it was like there was a weird pause, because you saw the video come up on the screen and you hear and you hear the tires squealing in a tunnel, which I'm sure was fucking awful for that camera guy. Being a person who has done video production, that was probably awful.
Yeah.
And the car goes takes off, and it goes through this pane of glass. And then there's like a fucking 15... I don't know if... part of me... Here's what I think probably actually happened, because the windows were blacked out on this Mustang. John was probably either in the passenger seat or the back. They crashed through the thing, and then they had to switch around in the car in order for him to get out of the driver's seat, which is why there was a weird pause, which took away a lot of the like excitement and flash of this entrance, because it's like... And it's like, what? Did he fucking hit his head on the steering wheel going through the pane of glass?
Probably.
Why'd that take 30 seconds?
Is Steve Austin here?
And then, what did we say Sean's entrance was on this one?
Yeah.
The DX.
Yeah.
So, this is what I wanted to say when that came up earlier. I feel every time at WrestleMania when he's come out to his DX music, he's very underwhelming.
Well, this was the only one, wasn't it?
No. 14.
Right.
But at least in 14, we knew why he was underwhelming. He was fighting with a back injury. But he still had to find a way to sell it against Austin at the time. Now, against John, to me, it just seemed like, okay, you haven't had the actual WWE Championship in 9 years. You have the World Heavyweight Championship, but not the WWE belt.
Yeah.
I really was rooting for Shawn. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You're putting over John, but you said it as well. This was the time where we're starting to begin where it's like, all right, we're really getting tired of John Cena. We're really over it now. You're starting to slowly become Roman. Oh, no, wait. No, you're just becoming John.
The original.
Yeah, the original prototype. Vince's prototype. So, match-wise, I thought it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. It really was. They've known how to be good performers.
Now, after this, they had that England match, which people say was a lot better. So,
And they were performing better in England than they were here. That's what kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, side note, I just remember this too. They were tag team champions at the time.
yep.
That was interesting to see that. But then again, when has Shawn not fought somebody that he's been a tag team champion?
Martin.
Stone Cold.
But so I'm gonna jump in now and give some of my sounds, my sounds.
Your sound bites.
So yeah, I thought that the build to this match was pretty good. The tag team title thing, I was intrigued by because I was like, oh, okay. So you're showing that they can get along. Oh, but they can't really get along.
Yeah.
But Shawn doesn't really want to get along. And so then
Shawn being Shawn.
Yeah, so then you get to this match, and I wanted Shawn to win. And I think I feel like we've heard that there was a little bit of
Animosity
here.
Because I think John goes for a handshake after the match outside of the handshake, and Shawn is like,
not today, kid,
and then just like turns back and continues walking.
Yeah. So, not knowing that stuff at the time, it was still a solid match. It was entertaining, and this is your main event of WrestleMania. So, it has a little bit of extra glitter on it, especially live.
Wait, Goldust glitter?
Or Lexi glitter.
Anyway, so no, I liked the match. I don't know if maybe Shawn didn't want to lose by submission or what, but he taps out to the STF.
You.
Very prestigious university, by the way.
He's not wrong.
And so, yeah, no, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. But yeah, looking back at it now, we know that there were other elements of things going on, and this could also that could also play into why he wasn't as invested. He's like, fucking A. So
I mean, okay, let's be real about this. If we could be serious for another minute, maybe Shawn didn't want to lose by a submission. 'Cause let's be real, some wrestlers, when they know they have to take the L, they don't want to lose in a certain way.
yeah,
Maybe that's why Shawn did what he did. And let's not forget, Shawn is always very vocal when it comes to his matches.
Hulk Hogan.
Like, very vocal about his matches. So I think with the whole leading up to that, or the aftermath of it, did lead to a very good continuation of their rivalry. The England match was...
So I gotta confess something. Again, back to the times when I was a teenager, I was always cheering for the really good guy. So I am ashamed to say that when I was watching this match live, I was cheering for John to win. Looking back now, I was a teenager. This is before my whole perception was skewed.
Before you realized who John Cena really was.
Yeah, so I was cheering for John. But then it's like you kind of come to a point where, much like the fans, they kind of started turning on John because you start seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So, yeah. So, Dan, what happened? So after the match ends, and John Cena does his pose and whatever, what happens after? Like, does anything special happen, or is it okay? Thank you for coming by.
No, that was about it.
Well, on that note,
but no, it was still an exciting way to end the show. You have the pose. They do a thank you for joining us for WrestleMania 23.
They always do that.
I don't even think it was John. I think it might have been
Tony Chimmel or someone.
Lillian. It might have been Lillian.
Lillian.
Just said thank you all for coming and joining us for WrestleMania 23.
Even though Sean tapped out, thank you for coming.
Drive safe and have a good night. And then the lights turn on like a movie theater.
Oh.
And you leave, but then you've got that. You're still on that high. That buzz runs for a couple hours after, because then you're like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was WrestleMania. Oh my god! Especially when you're 17 years old, like I was at the time. So now, throw that out there. Now people can do the math on how old I am.
we never revealed your age on the podcast till now.
You were a teenager at this time too, right?
2007?
Yeah.
I was actually 21.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was 21 years old.
So 2 teens and a young adult.
Huh. But yeah, good match, good show, all in all. Much like most WWE shows, you had some shit. You had some shit on the show. But
well, I mean,
I enjoyed it. How'd you guys feel?
Watching it, I was okay with it. I thought it was a good show. Sean?
I actually caught the show halfway live when it was happening. But again, when you're a teenager, you enjoy everything, even if it's crap. Now we're much more analytical now because we know a lot more about the business.
We have a more refined palate.
Yes. Other things that are refined as well. But
like murderers push. That's not refined at all. That's trash.
Can we talk about that?
No, not for this episode.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
But yeah, no, I think one of the better WrestleManias.
The fact that someone in this podcast can say they've been to WrestleMania. Okay, my last thing I wanted to ask you, Dan, about your experience.
Yes.
Do you think that if you could relive that moment again, would you want to? Like at a
like time travel and relive WrestleMania 23, or
to like another WrestleMania, or would you want to go to like SummerSlam or Survivor Series or Royal Rumble? Like the still current traditional WWE pay-per-views, not the ones that eventually get renamed after a few years.
I'd be happy to go to another either a WrestleMania, or I'll add a SummerSlam to my collection.
Okay.
Because those are the big two, really.
For you.
Well, for most fans, I think, and so that's where you'll get that same energy.
Okay. I get it. No, I see.
Because those are the two where you'll get the
out of the 4, those are the 2 that are
you'll
more.
get the diehard fans, the people who are traveling from England and Australia and India, I'm assuming.
Jinder Mahal.
Who are all there, and so you're not gonna fly 23 hours from fucking Australia to go to WrestleMania and not be hyped. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. I know I missed out on this one that was here, but
you would.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I have no further questions.
The defense rests.
Wait, what?
Man, like,
did you guys have any other personal thoughts about the pay-per-view?
I thought it was again one of the much better, like, seeing like the last couple WrestleManias, it was one of the much better WrestleManias, pre-HD, by the way,
and pre-PG era
exactly
as well.
Yep. No, yeah, I like that must be really awesome to just be there and just witness it all, because going to SmackDown one time, it's like it's really different because you think like what you see on TV is what the whole arena looks like it's much more different. But no, yeah, no further questions. So Dan, thank you so much for sharing this, and
also on your birthday.
On your birthday, on Rusev Day, on Lana Day.
Lana is the best.
Lana number one.
I missed the cue. Sorry.
Lana is the best. Lana number one.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
And for those of you wondering, the three of us, we personally really wanted to do this episode because we all felt like there is a topic that we're all really attached to. For me, it was the streak. For the commish,
me, it was the Montreal Screwjob.
And here today for Dan, it was WrestleMania 23.
At the Superdome. Sorry.
Silverdome.
Skydome.
St. Louis Arena.
Parts unknown.
Ford Field.
Bottomless pit.
Lazarus Pit.
The deepest, darkest pits
Shadows.
of your nightmare.
Pits of your nightmare?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm making
Pittsburgh?
making stuff. Basically. Those are the pits I was talking about.
But again, no. I think Sean and I I think we're happy that we gave you the opportunity to be adamant about something that brought you the passion that you've always felt for wrestling. Especially, you got to experience something that we'll eventually get to experience ourselves in our lifetime. But it's like, I think what makes it best for you is like you experience it at a good time in your life.
Yeah.
Like you're 17 years old, you're still at that point where like you're still kind of a kid. You're about to become a man, leaving high school like in June.
Yeah.
The following year, and it's like I still get to enjoy something, at this point in my life where it's like I don't get the pitfalls of being an adult.
Yeah.
Would you say that there's any other adventure that comes close to going to WrestleMania, or was it like, no, that was like, the highest of high?
I don't know. I feel at the time I'd say that was probably the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Admittedly, shortly after this, like once I got to college, I did trickle off from wrestling for a while because we didn't have access to the cable, or we didn't pay for the cable.
And there was no access to the WWE network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
And you had other things going on. With school, with girls, with all the occasional party. It was like closing the door on a specific chapter of my wrestling fandom, because then I kind of was on hiatus for a long time. I kind of lost my smile, and then I came back, and here we are. We built this camaraderie around our mutual fandom. And it's fun to meet up, and we talk about this, and we try to share it with people out in the world. And so hopefully we can we'll start to gather more people, and we'll be able to engage with a bigger community. But no, this is always fun, and I appreciate that wrestling brings so many people together. So sharing this experience with you guys and with whatever listeners we snagged up to this point. It's special, and I enjoy it.
Awesome.
Great. There you go, guys. We went through WrestleMania 23, and Dan was able to share his experience of actually being there in attendance, and we were able to break down the card and tell you what we thought about each match. So
on his birthday.
And
on Rusev Day.
And
Lana Day.
Not spelled backwards. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.